Periscope and YouTube and Twitter now. Rochelle. Hey, where at? Lourdes, my Lulu. Sharita, good evening. Hey, Candace, how are you, doctor? Hey, Cherie, Jeanette Jenkins. I saw you subscribe today. Thank you. Hi, Laverne Ruff, Monique Andrade. Hello, welcome. Good evening. God bless you, Adoria. D. Davis, how are you feeling? Patricia Wilson. We got to talk. I think you might be Miss Country Time. Hello, Teresa McDonald. Deborah Johnson. Hello, Renee. Okay, looks like we're up here. Periscope. Deja, Joy. Beloved Edmondson. Beloved Edmondson. Vanessa, Audria Holly. Her picture. Hello, Maria. Hey, Darren. Wanda Wiggs. God bless you. All right, we're going up. We're going to get ready to start. Gloria Tatum. Good, Corinda's. Real good. Christine Dawson, welcome. Good to see you're being committed to every night. Brandell. Hey, Sharita. All right, we're coming in fast and strong tonight. Davion. Jackie, what's happening? Gloria, what's happening? Teresa, good evening. So I think that thing is in my face, right? Can I move myself over a little bit? For Periscope, let me see. Hold on, Periscope. I'm going to see if I can move this screen a little bit so that the So Detox banner is not in my face. All right, we're going up fast. Delia, hello. How are you? All right, let's see. That should make it better. Oh, now it adjusted and now I turned it the other way. All right, we're going to get started tonight. Hopefully you have your books because tonight will be pretty straightforward like last night was as far as coming straight from the book. There's a few nuggets that I'm going to throw in there through revelation and enlightenment. Other than that, you can really go through your book. I'm excited because I appreciate the fact that some of y'all are actually able to go through your material and actually read a book. How many procrastinators do we have here following us? Hi, Adrian, Carmen Bristol, Angela Copeland. Welcome, Leona. Glory 888. Roman. Constance, welcome. Elder Terry. Beautiful. How many of y'all are procrastinators? That you know you bought a book and it sat on the shelf. Maybe you always wanted to read it and you just never took time to go through it. I like that during January of each year, we kind of have a book club, if you want to call it that, where we actually go through a book together. And I think it's healthy for us. And I like the fact that we do stick with the book. However, the book is not the sole reason why we are here. I believe it's just a good template, a good foundation that you can follow me on and have some continued application after we're done with our 30 days. Hello, Apostle Bromwell. Hello, Elder Manny. Good to see y'all on tonight. All right, I think we're pretty good and ready to roll. Nobody's complaining about echoes or volume or anything like that. Picture looks pretty clear. So we'll get rolling. The first thing I want to do is I want to read a couple of testimonies that came in. I congratulate everyone who sent their homework in. You all were big boys and girls. So happy for you and your hard work, your honesty, your transparency. I can't recall off the top of my head how many actually sent in their homework to me. It's not necessary, but it is a point of accountability for you. But a few of y'all did send in your homework, and out of the few that I got, few, maybe about 30, two people out of the 30 actually remembered to put themselves on the things I value and things I am committed to list. And then out of all the 30, no one put you at the top of the list for things you value or things you are committed to, which speaks a lot. It tells a lot about why we've been living the upside down kind of life instead of the right side up, because our boundaries aren't set, because we are not in the first position. Our priorities aren't set, and we probably can assume that we come across a little unstable, maybe a little independent, undependable to people because you're not on the top of your list. Or you will also look as though you're very stable and very dependable to other people, but you are probably very moody, aggressive, snappy, and that's because you are not at the top of your list. It is important for you to be at the top of your list because it takes you to meet all these needs of other people. And if you are not living your best life, your most authentic life, whatever could we expect to come out of this? It's almost like giving yourself to 10 different things and then thinking fully that all 10 things are completely satisfied and you're given 100% to all 10 things. It is impossible to give 100% to 10 things at one time. I know we like to believe that we multitask, but really we cannot multitask because only one thing is getting your full attention at one time. So one thing may be getting 75% and the rest are just getting a small percentage of things. So relax, fall back. Let's turn the list right side up and put you at the top of the list along with your children and your church and your faith. But you have to move yourself up to the list a little bit because it takes you to believe in God. And if you're not up at the top of that list, how are you working on your faith? It's not a priority to you. Other things can come in and easily snatch you from that place of priority. So let me read a couple of testimonies that I did have, and then we'll do our drawing tonight for the first book giveaway that we have. So first testimony, it says, day 3, soul detox, hugging the toilet and giving God glory. Well, thank God that they have a heart like that, huh? Double dose of 2 and 3. I worked long days, got into day 2 up until you started day 3. Then the shaking, the emotions went haywire, a lot of crying. The teaching is hitting the core understanding. Now where I am and what needs to be done. I never wanted to face these things before, just ignore them, but they never went away. Remember that soul, that negative self-talk, that relentless voice because of your self-concept? It never went anywhere, she said. It hurts so bad, like I'm being ripped apart. But funny thing is, I feel lighter. Throwing up, then showered, and then worship, if that doesn't sound crazy. Have to go back and replay it, even though I'm excited to do the work. I can't wait for tomorrow. I want my freedom. I'm taking it back, what was stolen from me, my identity. Come on, y'all know what we do when somebody gives a testimony on our 30-day journey in the month of January. Let's put those hands up. When someone gives a testimony, we give them credit for sharing. We encourage them. We strengthen them. That's right, Misha, put those hands up. Come on, Periscope, where you at? You are welcome. I am sorry. It is Self Matters. I love this. Come on, Integrity False. I see you. Very good. Yes, the name of the book. I'm going to show you the book actually in a minute and do the drawing for those that did send their name in for a possible chance of winning. And I think I'm going to draw names until all of the books are gone. So you probably have a good chance at winning. So the next testimony says, hi, Apostle. I deserve to win the book because this is my coming out of depression, low self-esteem, tiredness, heart palpitations, feeling sad, and backsliding. Can't pray, kids acting up foolishness. I ordered Self Matter, which comes tomorrow. Wow. I think she just deserves a giveaway, right? Look at the transparency and the honesty. Thank you for writing in. I know often when I read testimonies online, people recognize what they had written to me, and they said to hear their story being told by someone else just breaks them into pieces again, to actually hear that they have been putting up with things that they really don't like, things that they may be able to be honest enough to say that they even hate them, and they just keep doing them anyway. Does anyone know what that's called? What is it when we have to keep doing things we hate? And I'm not talking about adult things. I'm not talking about paying bills. What is the term that we've used on here that when we hate doing certain things, but we continue to do it over and over again, and it's not insanity, though that may be a part of it, but that would just be an excuse on here, because we're going to work with insane people. Come on, somebody put it up. I see y'all putting up the testimony hands. Very good. Come on. Couple more names pop up. If I don't see it, then I'm going to tell you what it is. Someone said self-deception. Very close. Yep. Very close. The words are synonyms. It's self-betrayal. You are betraying yourself. There you go. Thank you, Leah Shaw. You are betraying yourself when you continue to do things that you hate, and you won't begin to change them. We talked about it extensively last night. You're going to have to go on to read last night if you want to know in depth what we're talking about. Last testimony for the night. I believe I should win because I don't keep all this information to myself. Now, that's what I want on my team. I share it with family, passengers at work, co-workers, even supervisors and other believers of Jesus Christ from different churches. I truly do want the people around me to experience what it is I'm truly living. I have texted a good amount of people about Soul Detox Day 1 of 2018 and tell them if they really want to see change in their lives, watch these videos. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I printed those and made sure that we read those tonight, because those are real. All right, I'm just going to call out a few of the names. Let me see which way I want to do it. I think I'll leave that in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and jump in and call a name. Peyton. Is she there? Peyton, come for a minute. Let me put her to work. He called the young because they're strong. Come grab a name out of here for me. Come say hello to our guests so they can see you. Get in a little bit more. You got to get in camera too. You're not there yet. Come on. All right. She's going to... Do you want... Leslie, I think your mom's on this. You're going to grab a name, and then we're going to pick a person to give away the book. Now, while you're grabbing that name, let me just show the viewers, and then you hold it. Don't open it up yet. You got one? Okay. So this is the book that we're doing for the month of January. Self Matters is actually by Dr. Phil McGraw. Self Matters, and it's actually by Dr. Phil McGraw. And it comes with a companion that has a lot of application work. You must do the application. It's fun. It's it's funny. It's joyful. It opens up your heart to share tears when we do it as a group like this. But if you don't do application, you're just reading a newspaper. You've got to begin to apply it. And it's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie to you. So I do recommend, like I did last year, that you enjoy these broadcasts. Just keep up with best you can over these 30 days. But once we're done with the 30 days, I recommend watching one video a week. You'll have 30 videos on YouTube. You have 52 weeks in a year. When we're done, you'll have probably, what's that, -8? You'll have like 48 weeks or 42 weeks left in the year and 30 videos to watch over those 40-something weeks. And if you do one video a week with the application, with the companion, you'll knock it out the park, and your change will be inevitable. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here with you, and I'm going to still be an accountability partner for you, and maybe some of y'all on here can be accountability partners. I would love it if some of y'all invite people over to your living room, maybe had some popcorn or some snacks or something, and had a a watch party, but not on the broadcast with it. You really have them in your house. I think that would be great. To move. I remember when Juanita Bynum did that. Well, actually, she didn't do it. Viewers were doing it because they were so excited over her series that they started making parties out of it, and the women would begin to minister to each other on No More Sheets. So that's just some ideas to get you going. We're going to call the winner out now. Let's see who wins. Oh, my God. The lucky, blessed winner is Joel Rohina. Joel, that's right, Joel Rohina. Come on. He won the book tonight. My God. And if I could be honest with y'all and even tell you, he is the one that shared one of these testimonies where he says, I don't keep the information to myself. I share it with my passengers. And he said he's been telling everybody about it since 2018. So he definitely deserved it, and he literally won it. So in all honesty and fairness, Joel, you can either, two options. You can either pick it up from the church tomorrow. You can see Minister Misha or Minister Leah. They'll have it for you tomorrow. Or if you want to send some other way to you, this is to anyone who wins, just so you know going forward, you can just inbox me your address, and that's how you can get it. Or you can always come by our church and pick it up. Oh, they're saying congratulations. Go ahead. And then basically just tell me if you want a hard copy or a soft copy, because I have one hard copy here. But most of us like soft copies because they fit in our book bags. You'll be on and popping. So congratulations, Joel. All right, here we are tonight. Where are we at? Night 4? Yeah. Woo! Night 4. Get your book because we're really going to stick to it. It is night 4, but we are actually on chapter 2, defining the authentic self. Now, this chapter is overwhelming. This chapter is huge. I mean, I actually got upset. Dr. Phil probably picked me up in the spirit somewhere because I'm like, from page 27 all the way to like page 58, this book just goes on and on and on. And but he gave some stories, and then the end of this book, this is why you have to get the book, guys. The end of this chapter, he actually is starting some assessments, some tests that are very important for you to do. Why are they important? Why can't I just go through with you? Because these tests are the blueprint of your authentic self. It gives us the foundation in which we need to build from. So if we don't have a blueprint, we're just going to be building a foundation on conversation and perception. When you take these assessments or tests, as he refers to them, it gives us a solid foundation of that which to build on. It will reveal what is your true self-concept. It will reveal who were the most impressive people in your life and how they have showed up in you in so many different ways and through so many different relationships. We're going to go there, all the way there. So if you can get the book, try to work it out. But I've got probably 5, so we'll probably have 5 more drawings, and hopefully we can get some of these out to help you out. So we start out talking about you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. I've heard it said another way years ago. You cannot, what is it, Minister Leah? You can't confront.
You can't conquer what you do not
Thank you.
confront.
You cannot conquer what you don't confront. You have to conquer these things, and you cannot conquer them being in denial. You have to confront them. So our theme for tonight, thank you, Katrina, you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. We are in acknowledgement time. And one of the questions that's being asked now that we're talking about change and acknowledging is, how would you grab a second chance at life? I've thought about this often, probably not in the best, happiest, or with the right motivation from my heart. Kind of, I would say, upset, probably blaming my parents. Why didn't you raise me in a different area? Why didn't you raise us to know about college? Why did you think just because you didn't have a chance at college and the best thing for y'all were to do would be young and get married and start a family, that was all you were going to offer us? You know, sometimes I get so upset and say, if I just had a little start, just a little hand or a little legacy. It's not an excuse. I know a lot of stories that I've read where people have made it without all of that, but that's just been me. So when I read this in the book, when he said, would you grab a second chance? And if so, how and what would you change? This is part of your soul work. You can make that note in your journal and take time over the next 24 hours and just do a short list. I don't expect an expansive list, a short list, because you're going to have one video a week to work all of this work out in 2019. And then if you get stuck, you can call me. If you're committed on here, I'm going to allow you to call. I'm going to allow you to ask questions. I'm going to allow you to send in work, and me or someone on my team will actually look at it and keep you moving along with it, because this is important work. Last year we did a lot of healing and deliverance. We got in your gut. And the year before that, we got in your mind. We got you thinking about the things that you don't know about yourself. In 2017, we got you thinking about the destination of your mind. And this year, we are working at getting you to believe again that you have the power. That's why the last two conventions, the theme music that has played throughout the event is you've got the power. We got the power. I have got to convince you to take your power back, which you really never lost, what you really never gave up. You just passively let it just fall to the side. So I need to convince you and convert your mind to believe that you have the power so that I can get you moving again and getting you interested to the things of your life. So if you had a second chance, how and what would you change? Or would you decide that the familiar is safer and stay where you are? You're about to find out that these are not just hypothetical questions. These are questions that are determining the blueprint of your life. You have a whole lot of choices about what happens in your life than you could ever imagine. And I'd like to add to it and say, you have a whole lot of choices about what happens in your life than you have actually taken advantage of. You have been in the passenger seat of your own vehicle of life. You acted as though I don't have a choice. What can I do? You do. I talk to many people on a weekly basis about a spouse or a loved one who doesn't celebrate their faith and how hard they make it for them when they want to go to church or they want to travel with the church or go on convention or to some time in the church. And we talked about that the other night. Take the power back. This is your life. You get one shot. There's no dress rehearsal. If you feel called to your faith and feel called to serving God, they're going to have to just get used to it and make do of it. It is not your problem to make them happy about the choices you made with your life. You've got to take that power back. That you gave up to someone. That you have convinced yourself that it is my job to please you even when it comes to me. That priority list is short. You all didn't send me a very long list. But somewhere about third, I think the closest someone was at the top of their own things that they value and are committed to, the closest they've gotten themselves on the top of that list was to choice 3. Isn't that something? So come on, let's get to the book. We're on page 27. Allow me to read to you a little bit. That's right, Renee. Taking my power back. What are y'all saying over here on Periscope? You all right? You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. Shalom. Shalom to you too. So I'm not asking that you substitute my judgment or Dr. Phil's judgment for your own. But I am asking that you weigh what I have to say, what we're learning from this book, carefully. I'm also asking that you be totally honest with yourself. I'm not even asking for the honesty. Be honest with yourself. Stop the self-betrayal. Stop the self-abandonment. To be totally honest with yourself, even if it is scary to admit certain things about yourself and your life. Remember, you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. If you hadn't inherited the status quo, listen to me. If you weren't born into a certain family, that was one of the questions that I had posed to my mind and to my God. If you weren't born into a certain family and station in life and weren't buried so deep that you seem to have no choices in your own life, what would you have actually chosen for your life? Does anyone have an idea? What would be the life you could live if there was no money problems, if there was no fear, if there was no demands made by your family? What would be some of the things I was always interested in psychology since a little girl. Always, even before I could even say the word psychology, I had an interest in it. I've always been known as a great listener. And the reason why I've been known as a great listener, because I like to hear how people think, even as a little person, only to grow up even more to find out that I had an interest in criminology. If I had known, if someone had affirmed in me that I actually could have been almost anything that I wanted to be in this world, I would have ran right to that. If someone would have told me, I'm going to encourage you every day. My job is just to call you every day or every week. Yes, you got pregnant at 16. Yes, you dropped out of high school. But when you went back to school to get your GED, they told you scored so high that they moved you from a GED to a regular high school diploma. That was a sign there. I used to write letters to people, and they would tell me, you should be a writer. You write very well. When I went to Harvard Seminary, Dr. Ben Watts gave me so many scholarships in writing because he said I was an author. I was a writer. That was who on the inside of me. Never did anything with it. Could barely believe that I could write anything that made any sense. Very critical of my own work. And if I just had someone to say, yes, you can go to college, I believe that's all they would have needed to say to get me started. Yes, because you like to listen and you like to hear the way people think and process. Yes, you like criminology. You're reading a lot of books on serial killers and you're just a teenager. You sound like a psychologist or a criminologist. That would have rung so deep with me, I would have ran with it. Look how many people up here writing psychology, counselor, pediatrics. Without my mother scaring me, telling me, you're going to be in debt all your life. Don't ever go for higher education. My father told me never to get a car because you always have to fix it. I mean, these are the people that raised me up. So even though I may be not where I want to be, I'm still a lot farther than they ever expected me to be. Can anybody lift their hands right now on that note in your life? That you are probably very upset with what you've done with your life. Maybe you're not happy at all. Maybe you're partially happy, or maybe you already know that you've done a pretty good job. But can you imagine how far you have gotten with what they expected from you? Told me, don't even get a car, baby girl, because you're always going to have to be fixing it. Okay, so I don't have to fix a bus, but it takes me 3 hours to go do what I could do in 30 minutes. Now, mother said, don't go for higher education. Basically, get a man who has a higher education and give him a family, and nowhere near any kind of housewife material growing up. I'm telling you, I was busy going, traveling, and nobody would want a wife like that, especially with what my mom and them had perceived. So I know that I've come across leaps and bounds. I broke a lot of boundaries in our families and a lot of ceilings in our family, but I'm still not where I want to be. And even today, I had to do an honest evaluation of myself and said, wow, I'm still working at my authentic self. 3 things came at me. I was getting ready to just give up my little free time and go handle them. Why? Because I don't want to say no. What do we learn in this book? You're going to hear it tonight. The world does not stop because you said no. The world will figure it out. The world will keep on going. The world will find another dummy or another help or another blessing or another sucker or whatever it is that they need. They will find another one. The world is not going to stop because you stopped for a minute. And I actually was able to take a couple hours for myself and do what I wanted to do. And most of all, with no guilt and no shame. I have a lot of responsibility, more than I probably signed up for, more than probably most of us have signed up for, but we make it happen. But I have to slowly get myself to the top of that list. Why? Because there are some things I want to do before I die. And I don't want to wait to call it my bucket list. Remember we talked the other night? I want to carry my bucket with my list. I want to enjoy my life and not doing it as just a list of things before I die. We got out of that saying of, I love you to death to say I love you to life. So let's get a bucket list to life. Get back to putting yourself on top. So let me finish reading this. Now that y'all have put enough up here to confess yourself of things you wanted to do. Somebody out here had to handle some people out there. That's all right. Is Ebony on? I know she's sick. She's been my moderator on Periscope. But don't worry about the trolls. They're bored. They'll learn something tonight. All right. What would you choose if you weren't financially strapped? For example, living paycheck to paycheck, or didn't have so many people depending on you. If you weren't chronically overweight and tired, how would you live differently? If instead of being trapped, you had the opportunity to shape your life around who you really are and what really defines you and what matters to you, what would your life be like? How and what would you change? Yes, Tommy, that's right. What would you change? Somebody said an APRN. Beautiful. Very good. Given a second chance, would you change things or would you decide that the familiar was safer and you just stick with what you had? Would you grab the second chance or would you choke at the last minute, afraid to venture into something new? Would you settle for what you have because you fear that there is nothing else out there for you? Some of us are doing that already. You don't have to tell us on here. Mark it in your journal. You know it's there. You are about to find out that these are not just hypothetical questions. You are about to discover that you have a whole lot more. You have a whole lot of choices about what happens in your life than you could ever imagine. You're about to learn how to unravel your past in such a way that it no longer can control you and your future. This is a journey that begins with you refusing to accept and even make excuses for you and your life. If you don't have what you say you want and need, you must be willing to do so and say so with conviction. Something to look at. Even Sharita would open a daycare center. Whoever knew that about Sharita? I would never even imagine, even though she did have children around her, I would have never imagined, Sharita, that you would have wanted to open a daycare center. You see what I talked about last night? When someone shares something with you and you say, wow, what? I would have never imagined that because you have not met their authentic self. Look at someone else says, I always wanted to be a police officer. You would not even imagine these things. When you ask someone, who are you? You'll hear a lot of them answer, well, I'm a mom, I'm a doctor, I'm a plumber, I'm a wife, I'm an accountant, I am the mayor, I live in Beverly Hills. You even hear your children do it. I'm a cheerleader, football player, honor student, or troublemaker. Both children and adults don't answer about who they are. They answer about what they do, what their social station is, or how they see their functions in life. They define themselves. We define ourselves by our jobs or our roles. Look at Cheryl. That's beautiful, Cheryl. I could still see you doing that. They answer with what they do because they can't answer with who they are. They can't tell you who they are because they don't know. Yes, you can exist at many levels and have the behavioral plane of one of them. What you do is certainly a factor in who you are, but there is a whole other level of existence distinct from what you do. That is the real, true, genuine sum and substance of who you are. Don't you want to meet him? And Dahlia, you can still pursue that. Shiro, absolutely. And you should really make yourself accountable to that. All of these things that y'all are naming are needed. These places are vacant in the world. I like something that Dr. Miles Monroe said. I often quote it to my congregation. He says, the richest place in the world is not the earth, not Beverly Hills, not some rich place in the town or state that you live in. The richest place is the graveyard, because that is the place that's full of dreams not lived out, books not written, songs not published, ministries not helping anyone, shelters not being set up. That's the richest place in the world, because all the dreams that are worth so much in the earth are there lying dormant. And it is time for us to get from a dormant place to a place of action. Look at forensics. I would travel. Someone said surgery. Wow. I would be an interior decorator. Awesome. I always wanted to be a doctor and motivational speaker. Very good. I like what y'all saying up here. All right. For lack of a better word, that true, real, genuine identity is what I have been referring to as your authentic self. I would predict that you would have a hard time describing your authentic self to someone else because you probably haven't seen in any way, shape, or form or been in contact with that part of yourself in a long time, if ever. Someone else says a lawyer and a motivational speaker, and you're so needed. You are so, especially with all the criminal stuff going on in the world that we're living in again now. It's out there. It's available to you. So let's get real. Last night we said let's get busy. Tonight, let's get real. Who are you? Even put that up on the screen if you want. Who am I? Say it. Speak it out. Yell it in your house when you have time. Write it in your journals. I told you to go in the room and call a spade a spade. Admit what is your self-concept of yourself. You need to do this as well. You need to go ahead and just say, who am I? You ever get frustrated enough when you just say to God, what is it that you want from me? When you're really in one of those seasons that you have no clue what he wants, what you're doing. You feel kind of dropped off at the local farm, and you have to find your way back home. Hey there, Bishop Wright. Good to see you. Who are you? Who am I? Why are you doing what it is that you do? Is what you are doing with your life something that reflects and utilizes who you really are? Given a choice, would you choose differently? And then, do you even know what you would choose if you had the option? It's deep. There is an authentic self within you. Maybe you are living a life that reflects your authentic self, and maybe you aren't. I assume because you're on here and you stay this many days, you probably want to know for fact, is this really the best of what I can offer? Am I operating out of fear? Do I have this job because of fear? And did I marry this particular person out of fear? Did I live in this particular area out of fear? You're going to find out as we dig through the authentic self, a lot of the decisions that you made and are living through now that you know you probably are not happy in is because they were made with your superficial side and not your authentic side. So why are you here? The authentic self is the you that can be found at your absolute core. Maybe it's buried. Interesting question, don't you think? Is it a part of you that is defined by your job or your function or your role? When people ask, who do you say I am? What is your answer? Well, I'm a minister now. I'm married to so-and-so. The kids are grown. I'm a grandparent now. You're still defining roles and titles. Who are you without any of those things? It is the you that existed before and remains when life's pains, experiences, and expectancies are stripped away. It is the you that existed before you were scared by your parents' divorce or wounded when that cute boy or girl in school made fun of your braces or your dress. It is the you that existed before your spouse demeaned you in arguments after arguments while you just took it for the fear of being left alone. Come on, we're going deeper now. It is the you that existed before you were in fact left abandoned by your family or your spouses or even your children. It is the you that wants to require you to be more than you are. That doesn't even know what it is to settle or sell out. Do you know in vivid detail who that authentic self is? If your life energy is being wasted and you are living a compromised existence that cheats you out of a chance to be truly happy and at peace. Do y'all feel it already? We're up on page 30. Is your behavioral life, your public persona, at odds with the values, beliefs, desires, passions, and visions that define your authentic self? If so, you have given up control and are living a rather defined from the outside in life rather than from the inside out. You peeled it like a fruit or a pearl from the clam. All right now. Karen's giving me my 100%. Who am I? That was most of this year. Amen. Let's get real. Time to move from dormancy to activity. Action time. Okay? If your behavioral life, which is your public persona, is at odds with your values, beliefs, desires, passions, and visions that define your authentic self. If so, you've given up control, bottom line, and are living a life defined from the outside in. Are y'all hearing me? Rather than from the inside out. Not living faithfully to your authentic self creates a void, an ever-present feeling that you are incomplete. Heavy stuff. There's a restlessness a yearning emptiness that won't go away. It's as if there is your soul. You may try to fill that hole in a number of ways: by smoking, by drinking, by incessant working, by overinvesting yourself in a mate or children. Maybe you sit down and eat a chocolate cake with a half on ice cream. Maybe you have an affair. You have kids. You get divorced. You get married. You get remarried. You get a new job. You cast about to find something, anything, to fill that hole in your heart. At times, you may feel very, very lonely. Strangely, even when you're in the midst of people, there is an ache of separation. You talk to others, but only listened to. You may feel misunderstood, even when you are brave enough to risk sharing your feelings. You may often fear another's touch because you can't discern that person's meaning or intention. No matter how close they may seem, including your own family members. Painfully, you may have learned that friends and family alike have the capacity to leave you or ignore what is important to you the most, your authentic self. Opting instead to have you be and do what is convenient for them. Come on, I'm talking to you now. And if you struggle to fill the void, if your struggle to fill the void has gone on long enough, you may have developed an underlying pessimism. You may have become passive in your quest for change and fulfillment. Did you hear what I read up here? I want to read this line again. Painfully, you may have learned that friends and family alike have the capacity to leave you or ignore what is important to your authentic self, opting instead to have you be out and do what is convenient for them. Mic broke. All right, Karen, I'm with you. Karen said the mic broke. To understand the energy it takes just to suppress your authentic self, I want you to think back at this childhood memory that some of you may be able to reflect on from Summers. He gives a story of being in a pool or at the beach in a beach ball. You remember those round beach balls or pool balls, and they had all different colors on each side of them, and they were full of air. And we would try to hold them down under the water. Sometimes we try to sit on them and they burst back up, and you sit on them again and they burst back up and they keep popping up. Well, he uses this metaphor as it being your authentic self. It's like you're trying to sit on your authentic self, but it keeps pushing you back up and bursting back at the top. It wants to come out. It wants to do what it's supposed to do. A beach ball is not supposed to be suppressed underwater. It's not supposed to be held down underwater. It's for on top of water activities. But when you push down the thing that God had ordained to open a shelter, to minister to people, to have a daycare, to be a police officer, to be a life coach, to write a book, to give workshops, to be an attorney, to whatever it is, doctors and surgeons. And I saw you through all of your life have been using your energy to push down the very thing that is not meant to be pushed underneath. And that's why you have mental exhaustion and mental fatigue and just disgust, and some days just outright rage, and some days you're just having crying fits and you don't know why. Because the person that you are intended to be is the one who you've had your foot on the whole time, and she or he keeps pushing forth, trying to come forth and want to live. They want to live the life and they want you to follow them. And your soul keeps crying out relentlessly, because you've been squashing me down for so long and I have such a desire to come up. And then he says, just imagine the exhaustion you have accumulated fighting that same fight every minute of every hour of every day of your life. I'm going to give you all a minute. Some people are exhaling. Some people say, I'm tired. That's me using my energy, helping everybody else. Oh my God, you're speaking to my soul. Definitely feel the misunderstood thing all too often. I've been living my life from the inside out and not a life from the outside in. Exhaustion and sickness. Mental fatigue. Remember last night? What did we say? Last night you can lose about 14 years of your life by suppressing the person who you are and carrying the stress and demands of everyone else's expectations, everyone else's labels, everyone else's demands of you. 14 years of your life you can lose. Wait till you see this breakdown that medical scientists have determined after it's all said and done. And we might not care. Maybe we think it's worth it, but it's because somebody told us that we don't have a right to get off and say no. They don't have a right to get off and say today. Maybe not have time for it all. You know, we want to give excuses and we want them to be empathetic with it. We want to say, I'm tired. That's my thing. Don't y'all think I get tired? I'm tired. And then we look at them like, you know what that means, right? Like, I'm tired. So that means you're going to give me a break? And they're standing there like, I know, but can you do one more thing? Can you drive one more place? Can you pick up one more thing? Can you do one more thing? They're not hearing you because they're so used to getting what they want from you. It's going to rock a lot of people because your change to other people isn't your change to other people is about other people. Oh my God, she's not going to be available anymore. Oh, she's joining that church. God may really save her and clean her up. Then we can't use her anymore. Then she can't be considered the black sheep of the family. God forbid she get a revelation of who she really is. Then we're all going to be in trouble. Your change isn't about you. They're not trying to stop you changing for your benefit. They're trying to stop your change for their benefit. I see it in marriages all the time. And when we get down to the root of it, why do you have a problem with her going back to school? Is it really because she's not there to make the hot meals? Is it really there because the kids won't get to bed on time? Because we all know you can do it. You're a very smart man. We know you got this. You probably can do it, and you probably can do it better than she can because she's a little passive in her maternal discipline. You would probably have them in bed at a certain time, eating the right stuff, getting a book read to them. I've seen men who raise children. They do a really, really good job. So is it really the fact that the house is going to be lacking, or are you in fear that if this woman got educated or this man got educated, that they might get a revelation and see you for who you see yourself as? Because they know who you are. They see the wonderful things. That's why they chose you. But because your esteem is so low, your self-concept is so low, they're afraid that you're going to begin to see how they really see themselves. So your change is going to affect people. And they're going to help you push that beach ball under the water. Let's keep that chick down. Let's keep that man down. Because if he or she ever got a revelation of who they are, everything is going to have to change. And I don't want to change. Are y'all with me? Deep soul diving now. I'm tired. Teach, Apostle. Yep. And listen, don't get mad at them or don't attack them or don't say, so Detox was talking about you the other night. They're doing this out of their own fears. It's really not their original intent and purpose to hold you down. It's their fears that's keeping them locked, that's keeping you locked. That's why you've got to, we coming out of this. I'm going to get myself together and then I'm coming to get you. But first I've got to get myself together because this right here ain't working no more. I'm not dying like this. I'm not dying in this. Yes, your change will affect people. So to understand the energy it takes, just suppress your authentic self. Think back to all the things that you had to do because you had to do them and not the things you wanted to do. And what did that cause out of your life? You have a core purpose for being in this world. I'm on 32. By suppressing who you were meant and need to be, you are doing something entirely unnatural. Unnatural. Do you hear me? We are talking about I'm being myself. Let's keep it real. Where nobody's keeping it real and nobody's natural. I learned from a hairdresser that a lot of people who say they're into natural hair, they're not perming or coloring, but they got more chemicals to keep it moistured or oiled. You have to put moisture on your hair. So natural means natural. It means nothing. So we're talking about all this natural stuff, but you're not even living your natural life. If you're living for your fictional self, then you are unnecessarily trying to hold a beach ball underwater with one hand while trying to push a boulder up the hill with another. You are draining precious life energy in a battle against nature. Do you believe that? I believe it. Do you believe that this life that you're living, that you may be finally convinced of, is not your full life, not the life you really want to live? And you maybe you already know you want to make changes, but you haven't been able to figure out how to make that happen. Can you believe that it's actually draining life forces from you, energy? Because it's against your nature. You think you're living your natural life, but you're living a superficial life if this teaching has been making sense to you at all. Energy that could otherwise be spending on what you are really all about. To do any less would be to cheat yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. As he stated earlier in the obituary in chapter 1, the consequences for your health are undeniable. Listen, it is a well-known medical fact. We have some medical facts now. It is a well-known medical fact that whether or not an individual gets sick is determined much more by the vulnerability of his or her immune system than by exposure to the disease itself. I worked for a doctor, a neurologist, and people used to always say to me when I would come in, you don't have a hat on, you don't have a hat on, you don't have a hat on, you're going to catch a cold. And I guess he got sick of hearing it. And he came out and he said to me, you know, she could come to work with no hat and no coat on and never catch a cold. Or she could come in with a hat and a coat on and catch a cold. It's about her immune system, not whether she's covered up or not. And I thought that was the craziest thing I ever heard. Like, nobody ever told me that your immune system needs to be strengthened. It's not so much of course we want to cover up because we're cold, we catch a chill. But if we catch a chill and it turns into a cold, it's because our immune system is already weakened. So let me read this again now. It is a well-known medical fact that whether or not an individual gets sick is determined much more by the vulnerability of his or her immune system than by exposure to disease itself. It is also well documented that stress, nobody tells you to wear a hat and a coat for stress, right? It is also well documented for stress, both emotional and physical, greatly depletes your immune system. How many of y'all in here get sick a lot? Exactly. Yep. Come on, I see it. Glorious adios. It is also well documented that stress, both emotional and physical. So you walking around this winter with a hat on, scarf on, mittens on, boots on, and living a stressed out life. Your stress, both emotional and physical, greatly depletes your immune system. Study after study shows that the incidence of flu and colds increases with the immediacy of stress. College students' visits to the infirmary increase greatly as exam time approaches. The huge majority of widowers die within 2 years of their spouses. I've always heard that and never understood that either. And it's always true. Yeah. Die within 2 years of their spouses. Deaths, regardless of age, in the face of stress and self-disorder, our immune systems simply break down. Thank y'all for sharing. I'm reading it. So you worrying about a hat and a coat and a scarf, but you're going back to that house that's out of order, that's stressful. You're getting headaches. You know, some of the main signs that you have too much stress is you have this butter, what they call it, butterfly's belly, fluttering belly, like a nervousness we also call it, and headaches. Those are signs right there that you have too much stress. So why put the coat and hat and scarf on so you don't get a cold? You're killing yourself with the stress that you're living. Are y'all getting what I'm talking about tonight? Stress and weak immune system causes disease. I've got a few people in my live studio audience tonight and they're shaking their head. Yes. I see you crying on here on Facebook. It's all right. Get your deliverance. Get your breakthrough. Wrap up. Wrap up. Tell that person, wrap up. I got more stress in my house. Forget what a cold gonna do to me. I'm gonna catch a cold anyhow. Come on, Silver Lady. Let me diverted and therefore depleted. You are compromised mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. What about the long-term cumulative effects of all this? I wasn't just being dramatic when I said denying who you really are can kill you. In his book called Real Age, quote unquote, Dr. Michael Roizen points out that for every year that you live with high stress, you shorten. Tell somebody 3 for 1. For every year you live high stress. I don't know about y'all, but I have a high stress life, and that's gonna be my goal before losing weight. I got to lose the stress before I lose the weight, because otherwise I'll just die fat, and the weight ain't gonna make a difference. 1 for 3. For every 1 year that I live in high stress, I lose 3 years of my life. That's pretty deep. Are y'all thinking about that? Because I don't want you to get off tonight and just be like, if you live a purposeless and passionless life, you'll be suckered into anything. I don't want you to go in and turn your houses upside down, but I need you to start turning this house, the one that you have responsibility for, upside down. Some changes got to be made. People are dying younger and younger in our generation. Come on, let's go. Where am I at? According to his research, if you do not have an outlet for your true passion, it costs you another 6 years. Here we go. Another 6 years. How many of y'all have an outlet? Believe it or not, these 30 days is a very good outlet for you. You're going through a book. It's kind of like a book club. So what happens? You feel like you accomplished something this year. And when you study the psychology, the mind needs to feel as if it accomplished stuff. That's why for people who have no fulfillment in life, that don't feel loved, that feel underappreciated, that are always in high demand, they become workaholics because they don't get the support or the love or the appreciation for their family. So their work gives them their appreciation. That's why some pastors minister unto death, and some, administrative people work the late night hours, because that's the only place that they go that they actually feel accomplished. Believe it or not, these 30 days may not be physically equivalent to a gym, but they are mentally, psychologically equivalent to a spiritual or psychological workout, because you're actually focusing on you, and your body's like having a party in there right now. It's having a 4th of July. You better believe it, Jay Wright. I read it. Absolutely. Come on, let's go read some more. Y'all ready for some more? Because now I'm taking another 3 years from you, and now I just took 6 years from you. Now let's see. If someone is draining your energy due to a constant turmoil and conflict, you lose another 8 years. All right, can y'all add? If not, that's a blessing. Ignorance might be bliss on this part. You lose another 8 years if someone is draining your energy due to constant turmoil. You're losing 8 years. In fact, if you add up the number of years that might be lost because of stress and living in the fictional self, it would be 32 years. Think about that. 32 years is more than life expectant span. All because you choose to continue living in your fictional cage, with your fictional marriage, with your fictional imagination, your fictional house, and you continue living that way rather than discovering and living your life in congruence with your authentic self. Somebody just shouted out, "This is crazy." Someone else, "I want my life back." Changes have to be made. You better believe it. Very good. I like your comments. Come on, let's go a little bit further. I got a little bit more time left on the clock. Knowing human nature as I do, I understand that remote consequences such as health problems that will not affect you for another 32 years are sometimes not powerful enough motivators to make you hang up tonight and want to start writing your list of things that I'm going to handle this year. I'm going to take off the weight loss, and I'm going to move that about 6, and I'm going to put about the emotional weight loss is what I'm dealing with. I got to deal with my emotional weight loss. I got to get this stress out. This person that's causing me turmoil, draining my energy through constant turmoil. What else do we say? High stress. What was the one after that? Shorten your life expectancy. Come on, this is too much. But what the author is saying, if that's not enough to motivate you, if you have been so engrafted in being needed by somebody else more than yourself, let him bring it a little more relevant to you. and early and midnight. Let me assure you, those consequences can add up and be very real at some point in your life. So here we go. You want to be fictional? Let's be fictional together. Suppose for a moment I came to you on your deathbed and I said, longer for you to live. 14 years for you to enjoy watching your grandchildren grow. 14 years for you to complete what you really wanted to do your entire life. 14 years to experience life in any single way you wish. Do you want those extra years? How would you respond? How would you respond? See, the 32 years isn't going to make too much of a difference to you right now because you're feeling young, you're feeling strong, and maybe you're feeling motivated that I'm going to get this stuff done. I'm going to get this high stress. I'm going to get this turmoil out of my life. So, it's not really a big deal to you. But how about if you were on your deathbed? Would it make a big deal to you then? Could you use those 32 years then? Think about some of the people that are already in the grave that we buried and that we love. What do you think they would do if we went to them and said, we have a way to give you back 32 years of your life because you dealt in constant high stress, you lived with somebody who constantly drained you, and you were in constant turmoil. So here's the 32 years that you lost because of them. I bet you would make a difference then. Give me back my years. That's what I want to read on the screen. Come on, our Cherie. Holla at me, Gerald Miller. That is what I want to read. Give me back my life. Those are my years. It takes so much energy to be what you are not. That's what y'all need to post tonight. It takes so much energy to be what you are not. It takes so little to be who you truly are. It's all right, my Newman baby. Go ahead. If at the end of your life, your answer would be yes, I want those 14 years back, then let it be yes now. You will quickly discover that when you are on the right track with yourself, there is an enormous energy that uplifts you. You feel inspired and healed. Put simply, you will know how it feels to be empowered. And empowerment is the ability to distill the life force to a single focus. I think we're going to end right there. I think that was deep enough. I think I hit you hard enough. You should feel it in the gut tonight. Think about it. It takes so much energy to be what you are not. It takes so little to be what you truly are. So write your list tonight. Get your soul work done. What's keeping you back? Give yourself the second chance that we opened up talking about. If your parents were rich, if they sent you for an education, if you were in a different atmosphere, different geographic location, a different faith, whatever you think the ifs would be, give yourself that opportunity on what it is. And let's start pursuing and conquering. Because if at the end of your life, your answer would be yes to all that we talked about tonight, you want those 14 years back, then I want you to give up a yes now. So that you can quickly discover that when you are on the right track with yourself, there is an enormous amount of energy that is owed to you. And it comes rather quickly. We gave an example, sent pictures to me of her room that was not the tidiest looking room. But one, she got the energy to get up off of her bed of excuses and her bed of rejection and her bed of abandonment. Real life things, real truth, things that happened to her. But she realized, especially when we said, look, if you are only 20 years old, then you've had 2 years to fix your life. But if you're 36 years old, you have an equivalent amount of time that those folks that raised you had. What have you done with the 18 years that you keep blaming them for? What have you done with it? Self-betrayal, self-abandonment, poor self-concept? Not anymore. Tonight, y'all giving up a yes. Come on, Periscope, where you at? You're giving up a yes. Because tonight you have been empowered. And empowerment means it is the ability to distill the life force to a single focus. Guess what that focus is? It's not even your purpose. Forget about purpose. You're on your deathbed right now. It's for your life. It's for your life. Well, I'm done for tonight. I think we knocked the ball out of the court. I hope you feel the prosperity in your soul and in your spirit tonight, that you are being upgraded. I feel the press into your accountability time. when we start on tomorrow night, we're going to start, I believe it's it'll be about right here, which is page 37. So if you're trying to catch up with the reading, it's on page 37. Yep, I agree very much. Hey, Terry Ann. Remember, we're on here every single night, 30 days straight of consecration. We call it our revival. This is church. If 2 or 3 come together, touching and agreeing, I shall be in the midst of them. This is church. We are ministering directly to the individuals. We're putting so much of the other politics and the other stuff out of the way. This is ministry. This is church. And we're here 30 days for a 30-night revival, consistently coming together. And somebody says they're very nauseous. I'm questioning so much right now. You are amazing, Apostle. Oh, thank you. I love you for that. Keep praying for me. We're going to work this thing until it's worked through. I'm going to ring y'all like mops after this. And when you come out, please notice that I sent out an email tonight to all of our subscribers. And I do see that while we were on tonight, many others, the subscribe list was just going on my screen. I see you subscribing. You'll get another email probably tomorrow from the companion book on what the homework is now expected from this part of chapter 2 that we started. But all the homework that you need to do that we did discuss, thank you, Lori King, that we did discuss in chapter 1, it's on the website, which is www.suzannemhoward. You'll see a page called blog. It's my blog. And I just made a note up there, chapter 1 homework. And I did the best we could to get those up there with the changes Apple made to our photos again. So it's not meant to be up there to do the work for you. It just was a guide to help you because not many of y'all had a chance to get the book. So just go on there and click. And it's just, you know, like handouts. Just write the actual sentences in your journal and begin to answer them so you can keep up with your homework. And then by tomorrow, so we'll have this far that we've gotten in chapter 2 up there as well. Well, thank you so much. Tomorrow we'll do another drawing. If you want to add your name in the drawing for a chance to win, just send your name in. We're blessing people with the book that we're going through for 30 days, Self Matters, and the companion that goes along with it. It's a workbook on self matters. We're going through it together for 30 days, so you will get through this book, and your mind, your psyche is going to feel so pleased that it accomplished something this year. So here we go. Come on, let's go ahead and affirm and prophesy to ourselves and prophesy to each other. That's your soul work. Yep, SuzanneMHoward.com. If you want to email me, it's info@SuzanneMHoward.com. Info@SuzanneMHoward.com. All right, let's go. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Spread the word. Let's get people detox and let's get the prescription for their life so that they can be all that they can be. And that would include being their authentic self. Until then, remember, you're not in destruction, but you're under construction. God bless you all and have a good night. Thank you again for your time.